Hello, my name is Ella Crowther, and today for my independent drama project, I will be discussing the movie Divergent. First, we're going to go over into a little background info on what the Divergent movie is based on and who directed Divergent and what their vision was. The movie Divergent is based on the trilogy by American author Veronica Roth. The trilogy sold over 35 million copies for its thrilling dystopian narrative, which highlights electrifying choices, dramatic consequences, unexpected love, and a greatly flawed, perfect society. The movie was directed by Neil Berger. He wanted Divergent to be more grounded than any other dystopian movie, which made it almost anti-dystopian in a way. He achieved this vision through the locations he chose, costuming, his direction, and several other factors. For example, he shot the movie on the streets of Chicago to make it as realistic as possible. What is the theme of Divergent? Divergent overall explores the theme of identity. It emphasizes how people build their own identities against the influence of family, relationships, and social responsibilities. Its morals lie in highlighting to embrace one's personal gifts and not hiding who they truly are. As we analyze the several elements in this movie, we will see this theme at the focal point of it all. First, a little bit of the plot overview. The plot of Divergent involves Tris Pryor, the main character and protagonist, who lives in a futuristic world where society is divided into 5 factions. In the society, when each person turns 16, they undergo trials that involve their fears in order to choose the faction they will decide to dedicate their life to, which is based on human virtues. However, if someone possesses all of these qualities, they are categorized as divergent and a danger to society, and are forced to conceal themselves to prevent punishment. And while Tris is going through the trials of the faction she chose, she uncovers a looming war that threatens everyone she loves. First, we're going to go into a little bit of characterization of very important characters within the film. Beatrice, or Tris Pryor, is the main character in Divergent. When she turned 16 years old, she had to choose which faction she would dedicate her life to, and which she chose Dauntless, the protectors of the city, as she desired bravery. However, she learned she possesses the qualities of every faction and will not be able to fit into only one. The movie is mostly portrayed through Tris's point of view, which gives the audience a first-hand perspective into the identity crisis she undergoes. From the beginning of the film, we can see that Tris struggles on understanding who she is and finding an identity, but feels a strong desire to protect those she loves. When she discovers she's divergent, she realizes that her identity does not lie in one virtue categorized by the factions, but her identity is what she determines it to be. And when she uncovers the alliance between Erudite and Dauntless to overthrow Abnegation for control of the society, we see this desire to protect people and her bravery shine through. At the end of the movie, it can be concluded that maybe Tris does not fully understand who she is yet, but she has learned that a true identity cannot be defined by others, and one needs to embrace themselves to find that identity, and one's relationships, actions, and values are a true determinant of that. Next is a few other very important characters within the film. 4, or Tobias Eaton, is Tris's love interest and mentor in the film. 4 possesses the qualities of being divergent as well and helps Tris to conceal her identity as he guides her through the Dauntless trials. 4's nickname was given as he only has 4 fears, and since him and Tris are divergent, they are able to control the simulations and their fears. However, 4 is very closed off and secretive due to his past, as he left his former faction as a result of the cruelty he experienced from his father. His relationship with Tris allows him to open up his past and realize that his past does not define his identity, and neither does his faction. Finding a like-minded individual helped both these characters to create a deep connection with each other and also find a sense of identity through their relationship. Next is Janine Matthews, who is the leader of the faction Erudite and the main antagonist in Divergent. She highly values the faction system and views it as the only way to keep peace within their society. However, she wants Erudite to have full control and plans to overthrow Abnegation. She also views Divergent as a threat and plans to get rid of them. Hence, her character represents the want for total control as well as conformity and segregation within the society, as they believe it is the only way to keep the peace. Next is Tris's family. Tris's family consists of her father Andrew Pryor, her mother Natalie Pryor, and her brother Caleb Pryor. Her family emphasizes a very important part of human nature, which is the significance of family, and signifies its importance to Tris and her actions even though it is looked down upon within their society. This showcases another underlying message within the film, which is family and how one's relationship with their family can greatly affect their identity. For example, Tris's mother exemplified how important family is by sacrificing herself to save her daughter, which is one of the most bravest and selfless ways possible to do it. Next, we're going to go into the setting. Divergent is set in a dystopian and post-apocalyptic Chicago where society is broken up into factions. The faction system was created after the disarray of the world underwent, and this took place so the qualities that were believed to be responsible for the disorder and destruction would be eradicated. Tris, possessing the qualities deemed dangerous to society, puts both herself and the one she loves in danger. Hence, the setting presents the main conflict for the characters as they must conceal their identity to protect themselves and their loved ones. It overall affects the characters in their choices and actions, whether it be conforming to society or rebelling against it. The setting emphasizes the unrealistic limits that were placed on its members' identities, therefore providing the conflict to push Tris's opposition. Next, we're going to go to some very important symbolism within the film. As I've analyzed throughout the film, the faction system is a very distinct and important part of the movie. The factions that are presented are Candor the honest, Amity the peaceful, Dauntless the brave, Erudite the intelligent, and Abnegation the selfless. Candor are the leaders in law, Amity grows food for the city, Erudite cherishes wisdom and learning, Abnegation governs the city, and Dauntless protects the city. There is also the factionless who do not have a faction and are in charge of cleaning and maintaining the city. The factions symbolize the distinct categorization based on one's identity and human virtues, which is realistically impossible. It emphasizes how identity is created through the societal norms of the faction they are assigned to, rather than identity created on their own. However, those who are divergent, such as Four and Tris, have qualities of all the factions and threatens the lines that are created between the factions. Therefore, being divergent represents the idea of rebelling against a society of conformity and the importance of embracing yourself even when it is viewed as being different and wrong. Next are the tattoos that both Tris and Four have. The tattoos that both these characters have are important symbols within the film. Tris's tattoo is 3 birds, which each represent a member of her family, and helps to remind her of home and as if her family is still with her. They also represent her desire to form an identity for herself and remind her who she is and inspire her to be strong and true to her principles. Four's tattoo represents his desire to not just be one thing defined by a faction, as the tattoo includes all the faction symbols. It emphasizes his desire for identity as well as his opposition towards the faction system. Next, we're going to go into some elements of mise en scene that were very important within the movie. First is the music / the sound effects. The soundtrack and music within Divergent was very successful in accurately representing the movie. The songs present throughout the movie allowed it to flow and added an emotional touch. The music had an electronic sounding characteristic, but the songs did reflect the relationship between Four and Tris very well. With titles in the soundtrack such as Beating Heart and Fight for You, they all link back to the book, which add an authentic quality to the soundtrack. The music greatly reflected the passion and intensity within certain scenes that amplified the emotion it was trying to portray, overall demonstrating the message of Divergent. The music was diverse and could be dark to emphasize certain vibes to enhance the theme from dull to dangerous very quickly. The music overall allows the audience to feel a deeper connection within the characters as if they are there in the movie with them. Next is the lighting. The director uses the lighting in Divergent in order to balance each scene and set the mood for the audience. It helps to convey the dystopian mood of the film, for example, the use of LED lights, which helps to demonstrate the city's lack of electricity. And the low-key lighting makes the plot appealing as you can see the shadows going across the characters' faces. The use of natural lighting makes the scenes more realistic as well. Hence, the lighting helps to make the film more dynamic and tense to push the theme of the film. Next are the action scenes. There are several action scenes throughout the movie Divergent that increase the intensity and meaning of the film. In particular to Tris's character, there are several scenes that portray her determination to prove herself, find her identity, and protect her family. Pictured to the right are some action scenes that I believe are extremely significant when it comes to Tris and her identity. When Tris volunteers to jump off the wall first, zip line through the city, and stand in front of a target while knives are being thrown at her, we can see her bravery that is a definite part of her identity. Even though she might not know who she truly is, she consistently relies on her bravery and selflessness to get through the trials as well as do things that she is not expected to be able to do. The action scenes also portray Tris's transition from abnegation to dauntless and showcase her change of setting that pushes her to get out of her comfort zone. But as we see throughout the film, we see that she desires this change in order to gain an identity for herself. Next is the costuming within the film. The costuming within Divergent is a significant factor of the film. As pictured here, each faction is costumed differently to showcase the segregation of the factions. How each faction is dressed represents a difference in identity, and again the significance of the division of the faction based on these citizens' human virtues. Specifically, when it comes to Trish, she changes from the abomination wardrobe that are shades of gray and the fabrics are plain, which could be described as clumsy clothes and clumsy dressing, to a wardrobe of black and sleek clothing as she joins the Dauntless faction. This costuming transformation highlights Trish becoming more sensual and confident as she hones her abilities in the Dauntless faction. Hence, the costumes help to show Trish's growth in character throughout the movie. Overall, how do these elements work together? Overall, these elements help to showcase how Trish's society highly values identity and conformity when it comes to who a person is. They emphasize the external and internal conflicts that Trish undergoes as she is trying to protect those she loves while trying to understand who she is. Next, we're just going to go into a little personal societal connection of why I chose the Divergent movie. I chose the Divergent movie not only because it is my favorite movie, but also because its theme is extremely relatable to our current society. Identity is seen as extremely important in today's day and age, and a lot of pressure is on us, especially the younger generation, to know who we are. But when we are different, a lot of judgment can come with this. Therefore, Divergent showcases how one should embrace themselves despite the societal norms and despite it being seen as wrong or different. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed my analysis of my independent drama project for the Divergent film.